friends, welcome to my channel RK Raising Kids Vlog. Today we will learn about the revolution of the earth. As we know that the earth has two kinds of motions. They are the rotation of the earth means daily motion and the revolution of the earth means the annual motion. So as we know that our planet earth is one of the 8 planets of the solar system. So the earth, this is the earth. So the earth is divided into two halves. They are the northern half and the southern half. But why do we call them northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere? Because what is hemisphere and who divides those hemispheres? The hemisphere is the half of the earth, means usually dividing two halves as northern half and the southern halves. Means northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, and is divided by the equator. So here is it. This half is the northern hemisphere and this half is the southern hemisphere. And can you see this line? This is called as the equator. And what is revolution? The earth also moves around the sun besides rotating on its axis. Let me show you that. For example, my fist is like the sun and this pen is like the earth or the axis. So it rotates like this. Okay? It revolves around the sun. So this type of movement is called as the revolution of the earth. Okay? And another, the path on which the earth revolves around the sun is called as the earth's orbit. So can you see this line? On that the earth revolves around the sun. That is called as the earth's orbit. So how much time do the earth's revolution take time? How much time do it take? It takes 365. 1 minute. Here. 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes and 46 seconds. Too confusing, right? So for easy we will say 365 days and 6 hours or 1/4 by day. Okay. So these 365 days are added after every 4 years to make a complete day of 24 hours. This extra day is added to the month of February. Such years with the extra day is called as a leap year. So now we will learn about another, that as the earth takes 1 year to complete one revolution around the sun, it is also called as the annual motion of the earth. So seasons. So there are 4 kinds of major seasons. They are the summer, autumn, winter and spring. These are the 4 major seasons. So let us learn how does the seasons cause. Okay. So we will start from from when to when it would start, months. Okay. See. When spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere, the month is March. And then it goes down. And when it is summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere, the month is June. And then when the autumn is there in the northern hemisphere and spring is there in the southern hemisphere, it is September. And then it would go to the month December, when the winter is there in the northern hemisphere and summer is there in the southern hemisphere. And then again it will go from March to December. So let me start from the month June. So month June. So summer is there in the northern hemisphere, on a northern half. And winter is there in the southern hemisphere. Why is that? Wait, let me explain you that seasons. When it is summer, it is very, very hot. Really? It's very, very hot, and it's time to eat mangoes. Oh, sweet mangoes. Okay, and then comes autumn. As the trees are preparing themselves to face the cold weather when the winter comes. Okay, so it prepares themselves and shed their leaves, or sometimes the leaves turn to red to yellow, red, orange, or yellow. And then comes winter, very cold. Ooh. We would be in warm shawls, sweaters, and it's time to drink hot milk or coffee or tea. And then comes the spring, when it is pleasant and flowers bloom and trees come out, the leaves come out from the trees and something grows. Okay, so much grows, plants and fields would grow in the time of spring. So these are the major seasons. Another that after summer in India, there would be rainy season in such months like July or August, from June. Okay. So another that in northern hemisphere there are countries which is in the north, such as India, North America, Europe, and etc. So that was, and in the southern hemisphere there are countries like Australia, South Africa, and South America, and mainly Antarctica. So can you guess this, that why is the near the South Pole and the North Pole, why it is cold there? Can you tell me that here in the near the North Pole and the South Pole, why it is cold there? Why? Correct. Because the sun's heat cannot reach the sunlight. Okay, so it cannot reach the sunlight that much. So that is why it is very cold there. So that is why the Antarctica is really very cold there. And here Greenland is also very cold there. So now let me tell you here. Yeah. So summer will start from June. Okay. Summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere. Why is that? Why is summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere? Why is that? Because that when the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, the sunlight falls on the northern hemisphere much more than the southern hemisphere. The light, see, it's passing, and the southern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, so that it can't get the sunlight. So it gets less sunlight. It gets lesser than the northern hemisphere. That's why summer is there in the northern hemisphere and winter is there in the southern hemisphere. Then comes the autumn in northern hemisphere and spring in the southern hemisphere. So it is spring in the northern hemisphere. Autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern hemisphere. Why is that? As both the halves face together on the sun, why both the halves aren't autumn or spring? Why is that? Because that only, for example, northern hemisphere, let us talk. Summer is there in the northern hemisphere and winter is there in the northern hemisphere. Okay, in the northern. Then from summer to winter it is autumn, and from winter to summer, winter to summer there is spring. So why? That is why. And here if it is autumn, if both is autumn, then from winter to summer there would be spring actually. When spring comes, then only summer can appear though. But and before winter the autumn should come, so that the trees could shed the leaves. If after winter they shed the leaves, so how can mangoes would grow? Because of trees they would grow, right? So that is why there is autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern hemisphere. Now again here winter in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere. This you already know this. From here means in the month of June, this is rivers, okay, rivers, and here also autumn in the northern hemisphere, spring in the southern hemisphere. This it is rivers in here in the month of March. So easy. And the seasons would go on for every 3 to 4 months. Okay. So the revolution goes like this. So now I'll ask you some questions. Okay. Did you know that Indonesia, like the country's Indonesia, as it stand in the equator, they always have very hot season. The weather is very hot in the whole year, in the whole 365 days. Why is that? Can you tell us? Correct. Here is it. The sun falls directly on the equator only, right? Then only the hemispheres would get the sunlight. That is why they always get more sunlight on the equator. That is why throughout the year they would get hot weather, right? So such countries have hot weather like Indonesia. Indonesia has a very hot weather as they are in the equator. And one more thing, in the northern hemisphere there is a line like the equator, but the equator is the main one which divides them. So in the northern hemisphere there is one line called as the Tropic Cancer, on which the sunlight morely falls there. Tropic Cancer in the northern hemisphere and the Tropic Capricorn on the southern hemisphere. So let me write it here. In the northern hemisphere and south, this is the equator. So in the northern hemisphere there is a small line over the equator is called as Tropic of Cancer. Don't think that this is Cancer, not like that. It's just a line on which the sunlight falls. Don't think that the disease Cancer. It's just a name. So Tropic Cancer, and below the equator in the south, it is Tropic of Capricorn. So remember these lines. These 3 lines are important in the earth. So now questions. Let me start with the quiz time. So if the earth is not in a tilted way, means the earth is like this only, what would happen? And it revolves like that only, like this, not like in a tilted way. What would happen? Right, if they would be like that, they would have the same seasons. They would not have different seasons, and the whole earth will get the same season, like summer or spring. As the sunlight falls on them though, they'll not get different kind of seasons. That is main. And what would happen if the earth is not rotating on its axis, or there is no axis only? What would happen? Yes, it would happen because that when the earth is not rotating on its axis, so one half always would be day. In the 24 hours only there would be day, and the other half would be night all day. We have to shift like this, so that is why the earth should rotate. It would rotate. Another, what would happen if the earth is not revolving around the sun? Same thing like that. They would not get seasons, or they will stay in a fixed position. No, if the earth revolves, then only we would get seasons. So another, but what would happen if the equator, these 3 lines would not be there? And if the earth is not divided, same thing like that only, we will not get seasons. If the equator, these 3 lines if not there, and when the earth is not revolving, and when the earth is not tilted, in these 3 3 reasons are there which do not cause season if the earth is not like this. Okay, and if the earth is not rotating on its axis, we would not get day and night, different time. In 24 hours day only, in 24 hours night only. So the chapter is finished, and let's revise once again. Revise. Here is it. So June, when June would come, summer in the northern hemisphere and the winter in the southern hemisphere. And when September comes, the autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern hemisphere. And to December, there is winter in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere. Then to March, spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere. And what is revolution? Revolution means the earth also moves around the sun besides rotating on its axis. This type of movement is called as the revolution of the earth. Okay, and this type of movement is called as the revolution of the earth. And this is the earth's orbit, the path on which the earth revolves around the sun. And the most important thing, how much time does the revolution take to complete one revolution? It is also called as the annual motion. Tell me. Here is it. 365 days. Please write it down, otherwise you forget. Or for easy, you can say 365 days and 6 hours. So here, 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes and 46 seconds. And after 4 years, these remaining 6 hours would be added after every 4 years to make a complete day of 24 hours. And it is added to the month called February. That's why it has, in the leap year, it has 29 days. And no leap year, 28 days. So thank you, and the chapter is finished. And if you like my video and enjoy and had fun learning these kind of motions of the earth and have fun, then don't forget to subscribe my channel RK Raising Kids Vlog, and click the subscribe button there. Click the subscribe button to get more videos of me, and meet you in the next video called plant reproduction. Bye.